and really looking forward to the presentations. Just to give you guys a bit of context, India is a global leader in AI, and the AI market is projected to reach $8 billion by 2025. That's just next year. With government-led initiatives like AI for All and the National AI Strategy by Niti Aayog, India is driving innovation, particularly in using AI to address societal needs. I recently read that solving for India means solving for 40% of the world. India offers a unique playground for enterprises to develop scalable solutions that can transform lives across the global south. And in July, as Pippa mentioned, ahead of the WhatsApp Conversations event in Mumbai, we partnered with Meta India's business messaging leadership to define the Chat for Impact India Accelerator for Llama program. And our mission was to identify transformative ideas with real-world applications, leveraging Llama to improve critical life outcomes and well-being in India. And this October, we launched the accelerator with 5 incredible organizations. Over the past few months, they've refined their use cases and built impactful solutions. Today, you'll hear from these teams as they share about their journeys, their progress, and their vision for scale and impact. So without further ado, let's dive in. Our first presentation is from Adalat AI. They're an org that addresses the backlog and delays in India's legal system by automating court processes using innovative technology, including AI. And joining us today is their CEO and founder, Utkarsh Saxena. Over to you, Utkarsh.
Thanks so much, Indrani. Hi, everyone. I'm Utkarsh, the co-founder of Adalat AI. And we stand on a simple premise that the judicial process should be a pathway to justice and not a punishment in itself. Yet for countless Indians, the judicial system feels like an endless maze, excruciatingly slow, endlessly opaque, and entirely inaccessible. Imagine a court system so bogged down that it takes over a decade to resolve a case. 50 million cases pending in court today will take 300 years to be cleared by the system. Meanwhile, 70% of the prison population in India consists of under trials, people not convicted, but simply waiting for their cases to be decided. They often belong to the most marginalized and vulnerable populations who I have seen desperately seek information about their cases. However, their only lifeline is a fleeting WhatsApp phone call from a prison officer's mobile phone to a legal aid lawyer or a family member, pleading for updates about their cases. The entire system leaves them isolated, uninformed, and unable to navigate the judicial maze. And it's not just the litigants themselves. Even their families find the process to be a black hole. Public websites are cumbersome. Information is buried under endless capture, and accessing updates is nearly impossible for those without resources or technical know-how. Justice delayed is bad enough, but justice shrouded in darkness is even worse. Enter Adalat AI. How do you take all that dense, hidden information buried in courtroom files and deliver it directly to the people who need it most? Imagine bypassing all that paperwork and instead delivering it seamlessly through a Llama-powered WhatsApp chatbot, a tool they already use every day in their lives. This is Llama-powered, which means it's an open-source LLM that we can securely deploy on our systems, eliminating the dependency on third-party APIs and bring cutting-edge AI solution directly to citizens in courts, and with it, light to the judicial process. Here's how it works. It's a multilingual chatbot answering questions in multiple languages. So you can start a conversation by simply typing yes, hi. And once you get a response, you'll be asked to select a language, be asked to give your name so that the chatbot can address you correctly. And that's how the process starts. You'll then be asked to enter your case details. Cases are categorized by different case names and nomenclature, and so you can seek updates on your specific case. So on this chatbot now, I'm going to type out my case name, my case year in which my case was started, and through that process, get updates about the status of my case. So here I'm selecting a case category, which is CC, select the year, as I said, and then I will get an update on the case. Now, case updates are in dense legal language. As a citizen, you may not understand what they mean. So the Llama-powered chatbot actually reads the court document and gives you a summary that's easy to understand and de-jargonized so that it's accessible. And you can similarly get this in multiple languages. Here, for instance, I got a summary in Hindi. And that's not where it stops. It's not just enough to get the information. You also need access to lawyers. So our chatbot provides access through your location provided by the WhatsApp location to lawyers that service a certain type of case dispute and puts you in touch with them with all their details and all their locations and their addresses. And it's that simple. Using WhatsApp, using simple access with real-time updates and simplified documents, citizens are able to effortlessly track and access all their resources. We're starting with one state today, which touches about 20 million cases annually, impacting an estimated 40 million people, but the potential is actually far greater. By scaling to 5 states in another 5 years, we can reach to over 150 million citizens, litigants, and lawyers, significantly transforming access to justice across India. When we started this work, we thought it was all about the lawyers, the judges, and the courtrooms, but quickly realized that the citizens and the litigants and their families were left behind, and their involvement in the process was critical for true and transparent justice. And what's next? With the power of WhatsApp, cutting-edge AI like Llama, and our own in-house speech-to-text technology, we're expanding our capabilities to include voice access so that users can communicate via audio notes irrespective of their literacy levels. Integrated services so that you can actually integrate these services directly with the government servers and scale with the state and achieve a much farther reach than without the state. And finally, we can offer this in multiple languages so that this is covering different parts of the country and addressing India's diverse linguistic populations. At Adalat AI, we're bringing sunlight into the shadows of the judicial system. By tackling delays, complexity, and opacity, we're ensuring that the path to justice is clear, accessible, and empowering. Justice shouldn't be hidden in files or bound within the walls of courtrooms. With WhatsApp and Llama, we're putting it directly in the hands of those who need it most, making it transparent, timely, and fair for all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Utkarsh. If any of you have questions for Utkarsh and team Adalat.ai, please feel free to type it up in the chat box. We will be going through the rest of the presentations, and we have dedicated time for Q&A at the end of all the presentations. Moving on, next up is Haqdarshak. This organization helps underserved citizens of India by making critical government welfare schemes accessible and providing vital information, resources, and support. Arushi, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Indrani, for such a nice introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Arushi. I'm a product manager at Haqdarshak and currently building the Haqdarshak chatbot. But before I dive into telling about what is the chatbot all about and who all it's going to serve, I would just like to speak a little bit about who we are and what we really do. Haqdarshak is a for-profit social enterprise. We aim to primarily empower marginalized communities, not just learn about government schemes, but apply for them and actually get the benefits of them till the last mile through our tech-assisted model. What really sets us apart in the schemes industry is our robust operational team of agents whom we call Haqdarshak. Haqdarshaks or Haqdarshakas are agents who actually reach out to the customers, help them understand about the scheme information, and apply for them and get the benefits of them. But before I speak more about what we do and about the chatbot, I would just like to unwrap the entire schemes problem that we have. Every year, somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000 new schemes are actively worked upon by our key departments and ministries of the government of India, which are supposed to benefit somewhere around 800 million citizens and unlock over $210 billion of benefits. But where is the problem? The problem is primarily in three different stages. First is the information gap. Most of the customers, most of the citizens of this country do not know about the schemes that they could be eligible for or the benefits that they can get off. The second, and probably one of the biggest problems in India, is the number of languages we speak. None of the schemes information is provided in all the languages that customers or citizens would primarily know. And the third, and probably another big issue that we are trying to solve here, is the convoluted application process of these schemes. It's difficult for our customers to understand what the documents required, how they can reach out to relevant government offices and can apply for these schemes and get the benefits of them. So how do we solve for this problem? Well, we have the AI-powered WhatsApp chatbot that has come to rescue in order to solve for this problem. This is one of the easiest and the most widely used, product, which is through WhatsApp, and it would support maximum number of Indic languages so that we can reach most customers in the simplest of manners in a language that they are most comfortable speaking in and they prefer the most. Introducing the Llama-powered AI assistant called Yojna Didi. Yojna Didi is primarily going to solve for the discovery of scheme information. As I already spoke about, one of the biggest problems is the information gap. People do not know about the schemes that exist for them and the benefits that they can avail. Yojna Didi is going to solve this problem at the very first level of discovering the schemes, understanding the documents that are required, the benefits that can be unwrapped for them. So who is Yojna Didi going to help? What are the customers going to look like? What are our primary ICPs? One of the important customer segments that we could discover when we were doing our research were the young aspirational entrepreneurs. Someone like a Pramila who has the talent and the audacity to go ahead and actually run a business might not be able to do that because of some financial constraints. Yojna Didi can help her know about some relevant financial schemes, loan-based schemes that can help her get started on her entrepreneurial journey. And not just that, it would also help her get all the information in the language she is most comfortable speaking. So what all will Pramila be benefited with? I would like to walk you guys through the demonstration so that it's easier to understand. We start with a hi and then a welcome message. Once the customer approves it, we start with the language. Once the language is selected, we'll ask them if they have earlier used Haqdarshak or not. If they say that they are new to Haqdarshak, we onboard them with their name and the address PIN code. Once this is done, we would ask the customer if they want scheme information, they want assistance of any previous applications, or they want customer support. We have now asked about, say, a particular scheme information. We ask them if they want central schemes, state schemes, or union territories. Here, for example, we have picked out Jharkhand as the state. And if the customer types something as lucid as loan chahiye, they would primarily get the information of a loan scheme, which here is the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojna, where the customer has got the description of the scheme, the eligibility, the documents required. And then we'll ask the customer if they would like to apply for a scheme. If they say yes, we would redirect them to our Haqdarshak app where they can go and apply for a scheme. And post that, we would like to ask the customer about a little feedback. How was their experience knowing about the scheme and applying for it? So now with Yojna Didi, where do we see ourselves? That's one of the biggest questions we are asked when we started building this product. And our answer to all of those questions is that we really want to democratize the discovery of welfare schemes. WhatsApp being one of the primary and the easiest to use products for most of the device owners in the country, a WhatsApp chatbot would just be like speaking to a friend. It's probably the easiest way where customers type have now become very comfortable, typing and asking and querying. It becomes easier for customers to just type another query and create like a seamless experience for the customer. So where do we see ourselves in the 5 years from now? We have already impacted somewhere around 6 million citizens till now. We would definitely want to expand using our AI-based chatbots and other interventions, firstly through reaching out to these 6 million customers. And by 2030, we aim to reach somewhere around 100 million customers. And now it's your turn to scan the QR code and test the bot yourself. Hope you have a good experience. Do let us know if you get stuck anywhere. We'd definitely like to work it out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arushi. That was an amazing presentation. People, you know that you have access to the QR code as well as the WAMI link. We'll be pasting that onto the chat in case you want to try it out. And we'll also share these post the presentation so that you can try it out at a later point. Next, we have Noora Health, an organization that equips family caregivers with essential skills to care for their loved ones at home after hospitalization to improve health outcomes. Till date, they have trained close to 14 million caregivers, representing over 9 million patients in India. Over to you, Nikhil.
Thank you, Indrani, for that lovely introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Nikhil, and I'm a product manager at Noora Health. I would like to start by showing you the issue that Noora Health is trying to solve. On to the next slide, please. Yeah, so 2 to 3 minutes is the average time health providers in India spend with patients and their family members. One major contributor to this is the shortage of healthcare workers, especially in India. On to the next slide, please. Yeah, so very often, if you've been to a government hospital in India or Bangladesh, you would have seen family caregivers in waiting rooms and at bedsides. These family caregivers are a caring, committed, and too often underutilized resource who can improve patient health outcomes if supported and trained. This is what Noora does. On to the next slide, please. So now let's look at how Noora Health does this, right? So we start out by identifying priority family care practices. Then we develop engaging materials and tools like flip charts and baby dolls. And using these tools, we train nurses in our partner hospitals. These nurses, in turn, convert hospital corridors into classrooms and train our patients and caregivers who is more often from a low resource settings who lacks essential health education. These patients and caregivers will also get a chance to onboard onto our RAS service in the hospital. Let's look at a user journey of a patient and a caregiver. So they would see a poster in a hospital with a particular number or a QR. They would then dial a number or scan a QR and get routed to one of our campaigns. These campaigns would then send proactive nudges according to the condition area that these patients have signed up for. These patients and caregivers can then ask us questions, and our fleet of in-house nurses who's sitting behind their desk would type in these answers to these queries manually and send it across to our users. On to the next slide. Okay, so now I have a testimonial of our user. So this is a new mother who had undergone a C-section delivery, and she wasn't aware of any of the basics on how to take care of their baby. She onboarded onto our RAS service through some of these posters that she saw on the hospital. And when she onboarded, she got a video sent through the service, which explained many important things about breastfeeding, about nutrition for the baby, and how to hold her baby. This led to her equipping with essential healthcare skills that led to taking care of her loved one. On to the next slide, please. So now let's look at our future goals. In 2024, we have trained 8 million users through in-person training, where 70K users have subscribed to our Digital Care Companion or REO service. In 2027, we plan to scale to 25 million users through in-person training. We also plan to expand across geography and expand support to holistic caregiving across India, Indonesia, Bangladesh, and Nepal. We also plan to increase our suite of features with voice integrations in multiple regional languages. Let's move on to the next slide. So our mission is making caregiver support and training accessible for everyone, everywhere, with personalized, localized, and continued caregiving through WhatsApp. On to the next slide, please. So now let's look at how we plan to get there, right? So we plan to use generative AI models like Llama and reimagine our current service. We want to start out by moving from a rigid onboarding process to a dynamic NLU-driven onboarding experience. Oftentimes, what we have noticed is having a rigid onboarding process stops users who are engaging with us from completing the onboarding, especially if there are inputs around dates or buttons. We also want to move away from fixed text campaigns to dynamic, voice-enabled, personalized campaigns with user intent recognition. So, for an example for this is phone ownership in India is a little weird, right? So whenever a mother onboards to our service, what we have noticed is it's actually the father who owns the phone. And some of our fixed text messages are targeted at the mothers. So we want to also include fathers in our caregiving journey by sending them personalized campaigns for them. We also want to move away from episodic caregiving to long-term holistic caregiving. So what I mean by that is once our users start to trust us, they ask us questions beyond the condition area that they have signed up for. For example, a pregnant mother would also want to know about the foods that her diabetic husband wants to eat. So we want to actually move to a long-term holistic caregiving campaigns that supports their entire caregiving needs. Lastly, we want to move away from our current limited two-way support. Right now, as I told before, nurses manually types the responses to these queries that's coming in, and it's not scalable. By leveraging AI, we want to transform our two-way support into a 24/7 integrated chat with triaging support. On to the next slide, please. So now let's look at a demo. So Rajesh has signed up to our service, selected language, and now we are asking Rajesh to input details about himself in any way that Rajesh would like to do it. So once Rajesh inputs this information, he receives a personalized message based on this information that he has entered. We also include voice capabilities to it so that it caters to illiterate users as well, who doesn't know how to read.
Hello, Rajesh. Congratulations on your wife's pregnancy. As you prepare for her expected due date,
Now, Rajesh wants to ask a question regarding this particular message. And once he asks a question, and while he waits for a nurse to respond, we semantically matches this query into the questions list in our FAQ bank and present an option for him to choose from. Once he chooses, he will get a response from this menu. This is also powered by voice.
Rajesh, here's a quick checklist to help you and your wife prepare for the big day.
Now let's look at intent recognition in action. Rajesh now wants to change the language to Hindi. Now, on his own words, he would type that he would require a language switch. And seamlessly, the language is updated to Hindi. Now he is sending a greeting and he's responded back with a generic greeting response. He is now asking a question in Hindi. He would also get a response back in Hindi with voice enabled in the Hindi language.
नमस्ते राजेश, आपकी पत्नी के लिए गर्भावस्था के दौरान हल्के व्यायाम और योग बहुत फायदेमंद हैं। प्रत्येक दिन 30 मिनट की सैर करें और मध्यम गति से चलें। योग और हल्के स्ट्रेचिंग व्यायाम उत्कृष्ट होते हैं। ध्यान रहे, भारी वजन जैसे सीमेंट की बोरी न उठाएं। हमारी टीम
So now Rajesh's query is answered and he's thanking our system. That's it, everyone. On to the next slide, please, where you could experience this live. Do scan it and try it out for yourself. Thank you.
Nikhil, this is so cool. I'm really enjoying the voice-based responses as well. All right, moving on to the next presentation, we'll be hearing from Rocket Learning. They focus on early childhood development by building communities of practice for Anganwadi workers and parents using technology to improve learning outcomes. Let's hear from Prathmesh from the Rocket Learning team on how they're building for scale using Llama and WhatsApp. Hi, Prathmesh.
Hi, Imran. Thanks a lot for introducing. Hey everyone, Prathamesh this side. I am working as a product manager at Rocket Learning. So, starting with what exactly Rocket Learning is doing and how exactly we are trying to solve for the education landscape of India. Uh, uh, our main problem statement is that in India, 35 million children are not able to recognize letters and numbers by age of 8, which means by age tentatively when they are reaching the class second or third, they're not able to build on the foundational letters and number recognition. And this is attributed to majorly 60 children who are going to government-run daycare. So in India, government run the daycare programs in which 3 to 6 year old children go, and they are like they are taught and they are also given nutrition. But in the current system, only nutrition is the major focus, and because of it, we can see the result that that they are not able to kind of build out that foundational learning. Next slide, please. So at Rocket Learning, our mission is to stimulate and like stimulate the learning experience of those children using supporting their parents and teachers. So what we are doing is that we are having different uh, uh, groups for children, for the parents and the teachers, and through that we are trying to bridge the learning gap between these children. So going on the second slide. Yeah. So what exactly Rocket Learning does is we are focusing on product and policy. On the product front, we are focusing on building out tools for parents and for daycare workers. And on the policy front, we are working with the government to build out the whole national education, build out a whole set of education policy for the 3 to 6 year old age children. Here, for talking about the tools of parents and daycare workers, we are building out small activity based like groups where people will receive different activities, and basically parents can do those activity with their children, and similarly daycare workers can also do those activity with their children. I'll go on to the actual approach that we follow in that in the next slide. Yeah. For the parent, basically it's a 5-step process. Firstly, the platform delivers them the content via groups on WhatsApp. They receive this content and they will receive different type of content like activities which they can do with their children, or worksheets that they can kind of annotate and send back on the groups. Then they respond to us, and then the daycare worker also sees this and give them feedback. And also we have a whole system to recognize them using different behavioral measures and different other tools. Similarly, the process go on for daycare workers who in their when the children comes to the daycare center, they are able to educate the children using different activities that we provide to them on a daily basis. Next slide, please. So this model, through this model, the current progress and impact we have been through is that we were able to take it to 10 states in India and approximately 100 districts. And this was creating an impact for 3 million children around India. What impact that we have seen is ki, out of the people of children we are able to impact, 70% of them are able to now recognize numbers and describe pictures. Also, 30% of engaged children, after going up in their schools, they're able to be in the top 30% of their class. So currently, the problem that we are currently getting in this is of engagement. We see that a lot of, can you please pause the demo? Yeah. So we seeing that currently a lot of users or a lot of parents are there with our platform. They are receiving these activities, but they are not responding to us or they are not engaging with it. After doing a lot of field visits, a lot of qualitative and quantitative analysis, we found out that the motivation towards education is something that is lacking among these marginalized communities and the people who are living in very rural areas of India. And this was a major problem that was not enabling them to kind of use our content and do activities so that their children can like educate. So for that, we were trying to solve this problem. And in that meanwhile, we got through this accelerator. So we realized that we can use Llama to build out a proactive journey for these parents. We can identify who all are these parents who are not getting activated or not engaging after some time. And then we can build out the conversational journey with them to understand what's their problem. We can also give them different feedbacks on their assessment that they have done with us currently, and we can also give them different virtual rewards. So this is a journey that we are showing. This is one of the examples. In this, we are asking the parent what is the reason they were not able to kind of respond. So they have said that their children is like ill. Now, based on it, the chatbot has responded to them ki it will like different strategies to kind of check with the children and how they can take care of their children. The chatbot has now asked them ki if they are okay, it can provide them some activities and that they can do with their children currently. And yeah. And then it is also taking feedback from them ki what exactly is the response from the children. And basically, we aim to use this chatbot with different more capabilities, as I've mentioned. The aim with this is to motivate and like build out a habit in our parents to focus on their children's education. We see that there is currently a big gap in people who are registered in our program, but people who are engaging. So we feel that there is a lot of potential in our in using Llama for this use case. And we also are aiming to bring in audio notes or like audio based conversational in vernacular languages, which is the language of their own state or their own district. This will help them to basically understand it from like from a very customized perspective. So that's all about what we are doing. You can try out this chatbot and please let us know your feedback. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prathmesh. I see there are some questions already being asked, and I see Anish is also answering some of them. So Prathmesh, feel free to answer those questions in the chat box. Moving on, our final presentation this today is from Youth Ki Awaaz. It translates to Voice of Young India. And India's largest community of 200,000 active citizens shaping the future. This is the active user base that Youth Ki Awaaz has currently. It empowers young people through storytelling, public data, and civic engagement. And with us here today is Simran. Over to you, Simran.
Thank you so much, Indrani. Hi, I'm Simran. I lead community at Youth Ki Awaaz. I work with a lot of young, passionate storytellers across the country in their journey of self-expression. I also have Anshul, who's the founder of YK, with us on the call, and Kirat, who's the head of programs at YK. But yeah, let's dive in. Okay. In India, 400 million young people are between the ages of 18 to 25 years of age. Despite being the country hosting the largest youth population, it's also a segment that's often overlooked in policy making, that's not catered to by businesses and brands, and that even the media sidelines quite a bit. What then happens is, um, a lot of young people end up believing that their voice is not important, and an entire generation gets shrouded in the culture of silence. In one of our recent studies that we did, Pia, if you could just go back to the, yeah, thank you. In one of our recent studies, we found out that 60% of young people do not engage with local civic issues due to a lack of accessible, structured opportunities. But it's not that they don't have ideas and aspirations. It's more that there are no structured avenues to express this. For the past 16 years at Youth Ki Awaaz, we've championed citizen led storytelling by building India's largest storytelling and public polling platform. And we've trained hundreds and thousands of young people to express themselves, that who have actually been able to create a lot of solid on ground impact, right from being able to build accessible toilets in their workplaces to being able to enable water access in the deep interiors of Rajasthan, to many more. Today, our community is over 2 lakh creators, as Indrani mentioned, and with Gully, which translates to neighborhoods in English, we're building and scaling for the next billion. Gully is a Llama powered polling and storytelling platform in India's neighborhoods a voice. Through this platform and this chat service, we want to flip that 60% statistic on its head, transforming these Indians, these young people, from being passive consumers to being active citizens. Imagine Dhara, who's sitting in Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh, who's extremely passionate about things that happen in her society, in her locality. And she wants to talk about the water stress in her neighborhood, or the drainage issues, the wastage issues, or just the fact that there are maybe not enough medical colleges for her to go to. She has no platform to express herself, to register her opinion, but she does have that aspiration to become a creator. In fact, a recent US report mentioned how almost 57% of young people want to be creators. And as India's first creator led platform, we know that to be true for India as well. And that's where Gully comes in. Before we, yeah. So I'll just walk you through this demo. What Gully enables Dhara and many others like Dhara to do is participate in these important conversations from a very hyperlocal perspective. So she gets to register her voice and her opinions on these things, on these issues. Along with that, she can also share stories that she's been wanting to. Um, it could be about pets around. It could be about wastage, drainage, etc. And she also gets to gets access to a lot of feedback using AI. Um, yes. If we can move to the next slide. Thank you. With Gully, we're building a faster paradigm for civic engagement in India. We plan to onboard 500,000 people by 2025. And imagine this, even if we take a conservative estimate of just 10% of them being active users, that's still 50,000 people taking around 12 million civic actions in a year's time. And that's also 6 lakh hyperlocal stories on on local issues that spotlight the real challenges in India's neighborhoods and gullies. We're also planning to expand in 10 different languages. Right now, Gully starts with English and Hindi, but over the course of the next year, we want to expand in 10 different languages and use the swiftness of WhatsApp and the intelligence of Llama to create this ripple effect of community driven change in India's neighborhoods. Um, we can move to the next slide. Thank you. Yes. So yes, that was Gully. I hope you like the demo and you'll check it out here. Just to reiterate a few things with Gully, the vision and the mission that we have is first to build a lot of confidence in India's Gen Z and Gen Alpha youth. Second is to train them free of cost to become fantastic storytellers with live llama powered feedback. Third is to enable access to this community sentiment and data to businesses, brands, policymakers alike. And fourth is to enable that problem solving by civic engagement at a hyperlocal level. So the next time you know somebody who wants to express themselves, do point them to Gully. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you, Simran. Scaling to the next billion. That is what we want to hear. Audacious scale goals. And we are so proud to partner with these 5 organizations to help them achieve their goals and impact over the next year. I know many of you have already started asking questions in the chat window. So please feel free to type them up. And we have a few minutes to do a quick round of Q&A. Maybe I could get started off with a couple of questions for our cohort, right? Utkarsh, would love to learn from you. How has Llama transformed your service?
Yeah, that's a great question for us and Rani. We work in highly sensitive settings, right? We are working with courts and judges. Judges use the platform or sort of dictate judgments and decide critical cases before they're announced to the public. And so we can't use third-party APIs for large language models. And so Llama has been a game changer. We live and breathe Llama essentially. Because it's an open source and an outstanding LLM. We can deploy it, fine tune it, customize it to the needs of the law and courtrooms and citizens and sort of legal language and jargon, which is unique and complex in its own way, and then build solutions that make it accessible to litigants, their families, and citizens in general. Without Llama, to be honest, this would not have been possible. And therefore, Llama has been a complete game changer for our solutions.
Thank you. I'd actually love to hear from Noora Health as well in terms of how you see Llama being the transformation from your existing RES service. Nikhil?
Yeah. So one thing that we're looking at is having more engagement in our user base, right? So what I've seen is most of our users doesn't engage, and it's mostly because the way that we message to them isn't the right way to do it. And what Llama let us do right now is personalize some of these messages. And while we are testing it out, we've seen the difference, right? So we have more targeted messaging, and people seem like they want to talk to us. And that is one use case that we see is going to change once we start leveraging Llama and sending it out to all of our user base. Yeah.
Great. I'm going to pick a question from the chat. Amit Kohli has a question for Simran. How do you control bad actors on the platform, either malicious or toxic speech?
Thanks, Indrani. I think Anshul has answered that question. I'll just talk about that a little bit again, which is that every bit of content, like the moment it comes out, it goes through the first round of community moderation, which is done by AI. After that, that content is of course slotted accordingly, and there is also a human review after that, and only then does it go forward for distribution, etc. So as a platform, we've also been a community platform and open outsource platform for the past 16 years. And we have a very, very robust set of community guidelines. And we've used the same guidelines and all of our experiences to build it the same way on Gully.
Perfect. Thank you. I have a question for Arushi from Haqdarshak. I know that as a team, I mean, like you guys as a cohort really, benefited from also kind of testing, you're showcasing your use cases with each other and learned. So what has been some of the most useful feedback you received on your service while you were doing so?
Thank you so much for that question, Indrani. I think One of I definitely got my bot tested within like my family, like my brother and my mother and everyone. I think when my brother was kind of testing it, he just asked, oh, like, give me a feedback saying that whenever the flow runs in a particular language, uh, if there is a customer who writes in English script, but the language is different, say writing Hindi in English script, the bot is kind of not working that properly. So we started working on that feedback much early on, understanding that most of the keypads settings for the customers using these devices is primarily English. So even if like Hindi or Marathi or Bengali, you end up writing it in English script. So decoding that and understanding what could be the primary, query that the customer is asking, and then unwrap it and then give suitable scheme suggestions was something that my brother kind of told me, and I think I used that feedback, and I think that was one of the best feedbacks we got, and we ended up working on it. So as you saw in the demonstration, I wrote something like "loan chahiye," which is English word with Hindi and written in English, however. So it's like resolving for these kind of queries. And I think that was the best feedback we got. And we worked upon it, and we're looking at improving our services on some of those kind of queries.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Arushi. And I do have a question for you, Prathmesh. Perhaps if you can maybe lean in and tell us a bit about some of the big learnings you got from this accelerator.
Sure, sure. Thanks. Thanks a lot for the question, Rani. So, one of the major learnings that we had through the accelerator, there were a lot of office hours that we were having, and also a lot of sessions that we were having. In one of the sessions, we got a learning that basically to focus on that one thing. And as I told that we had that problem from since a lot of time, and we were kind of valuing into different AI level solutions. But something that we realized was that what do we focus on? How do we prioritize, and how do we come on to that one thing, and how do we take that one thing to like that particular level? So I think that was like a major learning, and through a lot of different like help from all the turn team, we were able to pull it off. So
Phenomenal. This
thank you.
validates the session that we love doing during our accelerator sessions, and across our accelerators. I think this is it's always something that is very much appreciated, and it's a huge learning. And I think taking that as a valuable lesson and incorporating it from the very get-go really helps you build out something that you can build and scale. So thank you so much. I know we are, if there are any more questions, Pippa, Simon, anyone from the Turn team, if you have any questions, or anyone from the audience, please feel free to, you can unmute yourself and ask a question, or feel free to type it up. Great. I see a question.
Johnny, there's a nice question from...
Is it Zolani's?
In the chat around to Rocket Learning. From Patrick. He was asking about the nudges and encouragement that Rocket Learning is doing. And like to know which data you use, and are there any tools that you use outside of Turn to extract this data and understand it?
Yes. Thanks, Patrick, for the question. Basically, so we have our internal platform that we use for the group level where we send the activity to the users or to the parents. From there, we collect a lot of data about where exactly the parent is doing activity, what activity they're liking, what is their frequency of of engaging, and all that data we kind of use to like personalize the nudges that we send them, and like encourage them, and then also to give rewards to them based on however they are performing. So we use our internal platform only for the data. Hope that answers the question.
I think the last question from Zolani was around restriction-specific data handling protocols when using Llama to analyze or respond to messages. Does any one of you want to take that? If you want to, you can always respond to the question on chat itself. It's, I think, all the way towards the end. There you go. I see Anish from Rocket Learning has also responded to it. But yeah, if you can share your experience and feedback around that, that'd be great. I think we can move on to the next section. Pia, do you have this? Can you maybe pull up the slides? I'd like to first of all thank you all for the amazing effort. It's been an amazing 5 weeks of working with you all through these weekly sessions that we've had, office hours, and I see the dedication that has come up in your office hour sessions where you bring in challenges that you want us to help solve. There's been a lot of learning that has happened not only within yourselves as an organization but across the board as a cohort, and it's been a very, very enriching experience for all of us here. So thank you for all your efforts. And as Lisa said, this is not the end, it's just the beginning. So we're going to get started with helping you guys scale and hit those audacious goals this coming year. So good luck, and we'll be with you as partners in this journey together.